And welcome to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. This is Season 2, Episode 19, Fandom, Fools, and Follies Revisited. And I'm your host, Lewis Bright Raven, 27-year veteran of the comic book, role-playing game, science fiction, and fantasy fiction communities as a writer, illustrator, and editor. And our guest tonight will be Ted Davies. He'll be on very shortly. But before we do that, I need to quickly go into our warning spiel, so to speak, our notice. In accordance with the new COPPA regulations, this episode of Quoth the Raven is intended for ages 16 and up. While some of the content we may feature is kid-friendly, the context of the episode is to address and educate older teens and adults to inform them of said content for them to research as consumers in service of their youth. In other words, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, librarians, etc. There is the possibility of adult language present on the episode as well, rated TV 16 and up. And before we begin, be sure to hit that like button down below and hit a subscriber button so that you don't miss future episodes. So thank you for watching, and we're going to start in with our guest this evening, Mr. Ted Davies.
How's everybody doing? Hi.
And he is the creator of and owner of Ted Davies Artistries. And today we're talking about his new series, ALBINO ZULU, which he just got the books from the printer yesterday or today?
Today, this afternoon.
Today, this afternoon. Awesome.
Hot off the presses. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
You can't get any hotter off the presses than that.
No. So, yeah, worked out well. Worked out very, very well. So,
yes. Now, we have talked about ALBINO ZULU before on the show. Mm-hmm. And, but let's go ahead and give a quick review of what that's about.
Sure. The book is about a character I came up with on a podcast probably about 6 months ago. And it was, jokingly, it was a character that we thought would be funny that for unruly cosplayers at the different conventions that were not being monitored by parental guidance. We thought it'd be funny to have some type of agent that would go around and police these cosplayers. That's where the initial idea came about. And I jokingly said, we could have, two crazy names, Albino and Zulu, put together as an agent. And so I kept that kind of in the back of my mind, and I really wanted to write something that would be a little bit more, have more of a foundation to it, more of a friendly neighborhood superhero that loves rock and roll, that wants to be, that wants to save the world, and how different countries call on him because nobody else can do what he does. And
well, I think when you're saying a cosplay cop, I mean, that's kind of negative connotation. I think you were trying to find something a little more positive that people would actually appreciate.
Well, I want to, and it's funny when you're live on some of these, just the mindset, you just roll through ideas. Mm-hmm. But some of that, sometimes through that, inspiration sets. So Albino is a orphan that is found by a Zulu chieftain and is raised by him. And his whereabouts are soon to be discovered throughout the mini comic, and the different agents and different projects and countries that want him to do work for them and saving the world one day at a time while listening to rock and roll. So, and it's just a fun, no-brainer kind of story. That's it's a 12-page mini comic series that'll be going on, and that's it. So just a lot of fun. It's meant for ages 8 to 99, so it's just something that's very easy on the mind, so to speak. So,
what age group would you recommend it for?
I think 7 or 8 would probably be the age I would start with.
Okay, in other words, it's kind of an all ages book then.
It is, because it really depends on the parents, because I know a lot of my kids could handle, stories early on. This type of story probably at 6 years old, but it really just depends on what the aptitude of the child and what the parent feels comfortable with. Okay. There's no profanity or anything of that sort. It's more so just a like I said originally when we spoke, if you could take 007, Black Panther, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off and combine them into a story, that would be Albino Zulu. So,
yeah, well, that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, Now, I'm going to let people know I'm a little bit off tonight, and there's a reason why I'm off. We had a fire behind my house. I'm trying to get the silly computer to show the damage.
I'm glad you guys are all right. That's,
but this is the damage that was done.
Wow.
This is, about 20 yards from the back of the house. Was all. And
just scorched. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Nobody got hurt. Nobody was hurt.
As far as I know, no one was hurt.
Wow.
The burned fence that you see is the neighbors downhill from us.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a berm of area that's like all weeds and high grass and stuff, and that's what got burned mostly.
Wow.
And then this is right on the opposite side of the tree. That would be our property line, and you see it burned a little into behind our yard there.
Wow.
On the next guys down, and you can see how far it went now.
They don't know what happened though. How it started.
Nobody knows what happened yet. It's still under investigation. But as you can see, it's actually gone down like 4 or 5 houses down. Yeah. Down the thing.
Are you guys has it really been dry there recently, or?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we were supposed to get a lot more rain than we did here, but it hasn't been like parched. I think that somebody thinks that somebody threw a cigarette in there over the fence stupidly, or they dumped their coals off the barbecue or something.
Yeah. It can happen.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking, but that's what's being said around the neighborhood anyway. But there's never been anything official. And another one of the long shots. Let me see if it's got. Now this is my actual yard. It stopped right at the edge of we got to stop right at the edge of my backyard. This is what it normally would have looked like before it got burned. And if it gotten into our yard, it would have gone all the way up that yard into our next door neighbors to their fence, which is all old, dried out wood.
Wow.
And it goes
all weathered wood. Yeah, man.
Yeah, all weathered wood.
Like a matchstick. Yep.
Wow. And that fence goes all the way between our houses.
Wow. You have all
so it would have been the threat to both of our homes if it gotten any further than it did.
Yeah. You've got pines all around you, or no? I mean, it looks like there's a couple.
Yeah, we got some pines. We've got some spruces. We've got different trees that they're just put up there random. I don't know why. You wouldn't think some of the trees would be where they're at, but
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're safe, and nobody.
And then, and you can see how close it was to the back of the house because I'm standing right on top of the ashes area when I take this picture.
Wow.
So it is very close.
How did it stop?
Our next door neighbors took our fire hose, or not our fire hose, but our water hose, and just sprayed as much as they could until the fire department came.
Wow.
And we were home,
Sure.
But my father was asleep downstairs in his chair, and he woke up and he saw the lights of the fire trucks reflecting in the back window, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he looks outside and there's these firefighters fighting and stuff. He's like, "Huh?" And that was at 5:30 or 5:45 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was asleep at then. I had passed out asleep at that time because I had I'm trying to recover from an injury because I injured my foot earlier this week. So I was resting, and I didn't wake up until around 8 o'clock, and I came down. He goes, "Well, by the way, we had a fire out back." And I'm like, "What? Why didn't you say something?" And by that time, it was too dark for me to take photos of anything. So
Sure.
I had to wait until day to do it. But yeah, like,
I'm glad you're all right. Man.
but yeah, it was interesting anyway.
Sounds like you got good neighbors.
Well, the truth is, they were just lucky that everybody's home for COVID-19.
Right.
More
Well,
than
I didn't
anything
know
else.
if you guys you aren't on a statewide lockdown though. They're just.
Oh yeah, we are.
Are you in a pay? Okay, I didn't know. I've only been paying attention to Michigan, which
Oh,
we're
yeah.
extended until the 28th now.
We're a statewide lockdown, but as far as I mean, there's still people, essential workers going to work and blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really hasn't. I don't see where it's really affected anything other than you can't go to a restaurant to eat. I mean, okay, I mean, I'm sure there's other businesses that are closed as well, but like my comic shop's open. You just got to wear a mask.
See, they weren't here at all. They were all shut down, which is fine.
They were curbside only.
Yeah.
And then they just opened to the public last weekend.
Okay. And I think that's something I've heard something along those lines, like in Indiana that happened. And I don't know what's going on here yet about the economy. I don't think that they're open yet. I think that they're just rolling out construction today.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're rolling out the big 3 next week, but only like at 25%. So like Ford, GM, the auto workers will be back, but only at like 25% of their capacity. But I don't know, short-term pain. I mean, that's, that's the way I look at it. I'm home anyway. You know what I mean? I'm home anyway. So it's like, whatever.
Exactly. What difference does it make? Yeah, exactly.
Right. We have to wear a mask to everywhere. We had to go get the oil change yesterday in the car. And, it was, I was really shocked at the mechanics and how they managed to control the environment going into the place. Very, very cool. And it was almost like going into a bank, with the glass and everything. It was crazy. It was at, the old bank style where they used to have the bulletproof glass and
right.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But anyway, okay. Sorry. So
no.
Okay. I'm glad you're okay.
Talking about some of that stuff. I mean, it's part of our world right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, right now it is.
Yeah, and you really can't ignore it. I mean,
right. One of the things that since we're talking about, let me get back to albino about the printing, because that's a big. It involved everything with the COVID thing right now. We didn't have any up here, especially. We had a printer, but it's closed down. The majority of the printers are down
right
here. I had to go out of state to find it, and thank God I found a company, and they're just awesome company. And they shipped out straight away. They got it printed, and it was out. So I'm definitely going to go back to them. They're
we're going to talk about them a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the reason we want to talk about that when we get that far, it has to do kind of with what's part of our questions this week. So why don't we go ahead and get the questions?
No rush. Cool.
And the first question of the night was from Revolt. And that's what he calls himself. Because I guess he's kind of he watches Indie Volt where I used to be. Okay. And I don't really I'm not there anymore, and I'm not going into why or whatnot. But he asks, did you see the rant on Indie Volt this week by the fan who was complaining about creators needing to form a union? Why is it that there isn't such a union, and should there be one? Well, before we answer that question, let's go. I took the liberty of cutting and pasting the guy's quote, the guy's rant, so that people will understand what was said.
Okay.
And the guy says, with all the talent in comics now, quote unquote, out of work, it's hard to believe they're actually all independent contractors. I can't for the life of me figure out how DC and Marvel get away with it. How come nobody in government has looked into this, conducted an investigation? These guys and gals are not independent contractors by any stretch of the imagination. You sign a deal, you can't draw a right for anyone else. As an independent contractor, they should have the right to go anywhere they want and create or work, but they are signed exclusively. Marvel and DC have done this so that they don't have to pay taxes or Social Security or any benefits. Creators, if you work for a publisher, no matter how small, unionize now. And that was from W.S. Paul.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I'm not going to go into one of my little hysterical, maniacal laughters, but you've all seen Luke Skywalker say to Kylo Ren, "Wow, everything you just said was wrong." That's the statement.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just is. We'll go back to it at the beginning here.
Dissect it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First off, they're not all, we are all independent contractors, even if we are technically exclusively signed to a company, because in most cases, about 90% of the so-called exclusive creators have assignments with other vendors or other clients prior to those signings.
Right.
And those are put in phrases, there's clauses in our contracts that allow us to do that. And that automatically debunks the notion that we're exclusive in all truth in the court of law.
Got it.
So if you see a writer who's working for Marvel or DC, but they've also got a book and Image, they're not exclusive to Marvel no matter what they say. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, just because you're exclusive to Marvel or DC and your pencils down or pens down for work on the comics, they have other divisions that they can employ you on. You can be working in the developmental work for designing characters for live action film or television. You could be doing it for toy design, apparel design, all kinds of licensing opportunities are there. So if you are stuck in a thing where your project is put on hiatus, I would say it behooves you as a person who is exclusive to say, hey, I'm available for that if you need it.
Right.
And because that's part of the deal. I'm exclusive to you anyway. What else?
Yeah, right.
What else can you give me in the meantime? No. So it's not like, and the thing is, in this sort of circumstances, unless there's a clause in the contract that says in the event of a national pandemic or certain set of circumstances, you're going to be released from, both sides are going to be released from that liability because it's an act of God, so to speak.
Sure.
If, for God forbid, that someone was exclusive to DC Comics and California gets hit by a 8 or higher earthquake and Los Angeles gets destroyed where their base is located now, and everybody dies, well, what are you going to do? AT&T, I have a contract. You're going to pay me for doing books, even though I've got nobody to edit me, nobody to publish me. Right. So a lot of what he's saying just is illogical and not sensible. That bothered me that he went on this rant to say this. The other thing is, and to credit Indie Volt, they kind of dismissed him too. I'm not saying they didn't. They were just a little bit more. Yeah. They were trying to be polite about it, I guess you could say.
Well, they probably had the same. I mean, they've got anybody who's really in the industry would know, and I mean, they've got to have the same viewpoint, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, then they were talking about the unionization stuff, and they're like, well, what do you think a union's going to do?
Right.
And that's right. What is a union going to do? Because first off, we've already had a union. We had one formed in the 70s. Neil Adams tried to form it, and it lasted about, I think about 18 months, and then went out of any type of use, largely because, first off, who is going to abide by the rules of the union? You got so many different publishers. If a publisher decides not to go by those rules, okay, well then you can't work for them because you're part of the union.
Right.
That's going to be that's going to be one thing that's going to go against you.
Yeah.
Another thing that's going to go against you is that, okay, and this is a fact with the Screenwriters Guild and the Actors Guilds, which are unions. Mm-hmm. You have to have so many credits before you can even be qualified to join it.
Right.
Well, now who's going to qualify for what? I mean, someone like myself who's been in business for 27 years but hasn't had a credit with Marvel or DC in 25 of those years, they're going to say, well, you don't count. Or someone like Randy Zimmerman, who's never worked for any of the major publishers, even though he's been in the business over 30 years. Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to cut it and say, well, these are the companies that count. Then these companies, well, if you work enough, maybe. But most of the independents, most of the self-publishers, unless we have a self-publishers guild on top of it, that's not going to get counted in the unions because that's how cliquish our community is.
Sure. And the other thing, the monetary side of it too.
Exactly.
The pay-in to become on this union, and then your union dues on top of it and so forth. It's a snowball. I mean, just rolling down a hill. I mean, it goes on and on. Yeah. There's way too many variables it's more work, it's more hassle than it's worth. Yes, exactly.
And, but for this guy to come up with this, and I think what made me mad when I saw it was because we addressed it on Indie Vault 3 times while I was there. It's like, I know I haven't been there since like January and this is now May, but how many times do we need to address this topic?
Well, I mean, it's the same pot, just stirred. It's just stirring it again, and it's
it's like exactly. But it's kind of funny in that respect. But okay, we got another question from Diana, and it was recently announced that starting July 1st. Patreon will be adding sales taxes to products. Do you think that this is a proper decision by Patreon? And do you think that sites like Indiegogo and Kickstarter are going to follow suit? How does this affect comics creators in your opinion? Well, it's not a question of whether it's proper. I mean, this is just business. Mm-hmm. People in this industry need to learn how to do business. When we go to conventions out of state, like if I go to San Diego Con, I have to get a license, a temporary vendor's license, and pay taxes on my sales at that show to the state of California.
Right.
What Patreon is doing is acting as your agent and taking all those sales taxes and paying it for you so that you don't have to do it yourself later.
I don't think they're penalizing anybody.
No, they're not. And that's what people need to understand, because I've heard a lot of creators on YouTube and a lot of creators on Facebook whining about this. Oh, I'm not going to lose money. No, you're not. It's going to cost your customers a little bit more money because they got to pay the taxes. Right.
And they're being legit. They're being a legitimate business.
To have a legitimate business.
Yeah.
And if your customer doesn't want to pay an extra 15 cents or an extra quarter, and that's a deal killer, then they really weren't interested in your product,
right?
As far as I'm concerned. Now, if it'd be different if it was, an $8 tax or something, But it's not.
Yeah.
It's
right.
It's like 4 to 15 cents on average,
or a hosting fee or something. The way that they're doing it, I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's sure, and it's evolved. And if Kickstarter and Indiegogo decide to go that route, I don't think that's wrong either. Because they're doing it, it's for the right reasons. It's not to be to stick it to you.
No, it's there to help you in a way, because otherwise you're going to have your accountant figure out the taxes to every place you sell.
Right.
Otherwise, you're in the potential bind with the IRS.
Right. I don't like when you're one of the things like you were talking about out of state. You've got certain places like I think it was I know it was Varian. He talked about it being down in Louisiana, and just can't. He was blindsided, and on how that that wasn't the right way to do it. And I don't know if it was Wizard World or who it was that was running the show, but they should have mandated. That should have been in the paperwork and part of the agreement, before you even got down.
So that you knew what you were getting into beforehand, right? Well, a lot of times, with Wizard World, they got so many different places and so many locations. Yes, it's their error, but they probably they have a boilerplate contract instead of a contract for each show, which is what they should do, so that each show has their differentials, because every state has different requisites. And, most of the time we creators, we're creators. We're not business people. We don't know the laws in every state that we're going to be operating in.
Sure.
And so, as far as doing a national digital distribution or international sales through mail order through a platform, whether it's Patreon, Indiegogo, Kickstarter,
Yep.
Whatever it is, it's usually whatever the state the sale was done in, not yours.
Right.
So like if I go through indieplanet.com, Florida has a certain percent that goes into all of indieplanet.com sales.
Yeah. Yep.
But that, like I said, doesn't come out of my pocket as a creator. It comes out of the pocket of the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And consumers, like I said, if a consumer's that put out by it that they're not going to buy a book because, I have to pay an extra quarter or whatever it is, then did they really want your book? That's right.
And I can understand if it's a county tax or something, or if you're
usually it's a state sales tax is all it is.
Yeah, and I think that's not even a concern. It's just part of it, especially if it's at the end of the purchase. If the consumer's paying it, it's not hurting you as an artist or an author or whatever creator, then it's null and void. That platform needs to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, if that doesn't get paid, then what happens is, and I've seen this happen to a lot of creators over the years, IRS comes and says, well, you did all these shows. We have records of this, and these states weren't paid. Here's a $10,000 tax bill.
Right.
And, it's not from one show. It's from like all the shows you did over a span of 6-7 years, but that's part of it. And I've seen this happen to numerous creators because they just didn't understand that was there. And, that's partly the creators. And yes, that's partly showrunners who don't know understand that stuff. But that's why shows like San Diego tell you get your vendor's license before you come, and stuff like that. But that should be a standard thing. Get a vendor's license wherever you're headed before you head there.
Yep.
And if they're going to say delay, then that's kind of why we have to do all this stuff months ahead of time. It takes long, fortunately.
Right.
Well, let's go ahead and go on to the next question. Brian R. from Illinois says, I know you don't like retailers like Brian Hibbs all that much from what you have expressed on your show in the past. But I was wondering if you saw the new launch of yet another comics graphic novels club at his store that focuses on classic stories, and what do you think that will do for his store? He claims that it's what will take to keep his store solvent. Oh, sorry. There we go. I thought I put it over there. I'll let you guys read it for a second there again. Okay. Now, I don't know Brian personally. It's not a question of me liking or disliking Brian as a person. I just think sometimes he's lost in a train of thought. He's kind of brainwashed from being a retailer for as long as he has. He's been in the business 25, 30 years. And when you do that and you're used to a certain way of doing business, you're going to run into people like that are going to have issues with change. Okay. Now, as for his new comic book novel club where he's got the classic stuff like the Phoenix Saga and the Preacher series and Alan Moore Swamp Thing and other stuff like that as stuff that people can buy. I'm not going to say that it is or isn't going to help him. Okay. But because I don't know what will or not help him in that regard. I'm not there in San Francisco. I don't know the dynamics of his specific situation to the fullest extent that I to say. But the way I look at it is most of us who are already comic book fans already have that content. So we're probably not going to be buying another copy for his book club. I'm guessing, but that doesn't mean that he can't market that to audiences that don't have it.
Right.
That's his, and if that'll work for him, all the power to him. But what I would say is what will help keep his store solvent is stop being a slave to Diamond, to Marvel, to DC, and start establishing proper relations with the rest of the market that Diamond doesn't even carry. Because to make comics as an industry for all these retailers to be solvent again, you have to have content that we can only get through comics. Marvel and DC, I can get my fix through television. I can get my fix through film. Yep. I don't need a comic book anymore. And it doesn't mean I don't like comics. It doesn't mean I don't like Marvel, DC. It means I don't need to go get that to get my fix for that particular brand.
I get it.
And so unless it's something I really, really want at today's prices of what comics are, is the average person going to go out there? Probably not.
Yeah.
So what you have to have is content that isn't available through film or television or books, prose fiction, that is, isn't available through video games, and be able to market that to the public and say, there's more to our medium, more to our market than just this other stuff over here. That's stuff you're aware of, and that's great. And if you want to come check that out, by all means, come into our stores and check it out. But when you come, look at all the other cool stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
Right. And I think you're right on that. I think you're right.
And I just don't see where Brian and other retailers are really embracing that mentality. And I think that's where they fail the industry.
I think that you're seeing too with everything that's been going on with Diamond. I'm seeing a lot of smaller shops that are opening up to indie. I mean, forget smaller shops. Look at the bigger shops, Walmart. I mean, look at the end caps now they're putting on with the indie publishing cardboard.
Yeah,
wraps,
that one, the Allegiance books. Yeah.
Right.
I haven't seen those actually. I've been to 2 different Walmarts here in Columbia, and they didn't have them. So I know
that one of the guys here, Evan, his books.
Varian got them. I know Varian did.
Yeah, right. Mount Clemens, they had them, so I know that they're coming. I'm not really worried about the comic books. I'm more worried about the toilet paper being on the shelves than the comics right now. But back to what you were saying. what I was, and that was one of the jokes that Evans Posio. I don't know if you know him or not, but
I've heard of him.
He joked about saying, I'll have my paperbacks and my TP, or paperbacks and TP in the same aisle. And I asked him if he'd autograph them. I said the books, not the TP. And he said, I'll autograph them both if you buy my book. I don't care, whatever. But there's, I think that you're seeing the smaller.
Let me sign a TP. Ain't this the shit?
I'm seeing a lot of smaller shops though that are interested in carrying independent now. Now, what was the guy's name in California?
Brian Hibbs. He's one of the biggest,
So Brian,
one of the biggest people in the industry as far as retailers go.
Okay, but he's probably going off of what he thinks because of the experiences he's had the last 30 years, right? You got to have new thoughts.
The thing is,
like you were saying,
he also likes,
new.
Yes, but he likes to brag. Thoughts. He likes to brag about how diversified he is, and he has 2 other graphic novel clubs where he does do a lot of indie type stuff, and that's great. But the bottom line is, does he use Indie Planet? Does he use Lulu? What's he getting from? He's completely anti-Comicsgate, which I don't care if you're against them for their attitudes, but he's extending it to basically anybody who's on Kickstarter or Indiegogo is a problem. They're against us. No, we're not against you, because part of the reason we're over there is because you've turned your back on us.
Yeah.
And that we can't get that through his thick skull.
Well, and I think that you're going to see the difference in that with a lot of the small. Honestly, if the smaller shops survive this, I've seen them get more plugged into indie comics. I've seen it. The last 3 weeks, people have asked, "Hey, can I get this comic from you? Do you have? I don't care if you got a barcode on it or whatever. Get it to the shop, and we'll figure that out.
Something good,
whatever." And that's hopeful. And that's not just in Michigan. I've seen it in Indiana, Ohio. I've seen it in a
Well,
lot of places.
well,
And
27
I
years.
think Kickstarter and Indiegogo too are really going to be I really think they're going to be the distro of the future. I really do. I think that's going to be a marketplace that a lot of the smaller shops are going to be working, I think, in tandem.
I hope so. I think that would be a reasonable thing.
Yeah.
I think Indie Planet could be a distro too. That's why I brought Gary and Tom on here, was to remind people that they tried to do this, but the retailers were resistant. And that's why it's set up the way it is.
I think that was good that you brought him on. I think it was good you brought him on. She showed a lot of light there that I don't think many people knew about. That's good. Really good.
Let's see what other questions we've got. Anonymous.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah.
Yes. I don't like how you ran your live draw shows this past weekend. You're supposed to just draw and entertain us, not try to sell stuff. And I didn't like how you had already partially pre-drawn this stuff. You should work from scratch like other artists do. Is what he says.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, really? People have been basically bitching at me to do a live draw for 2 months. And I do 12 hours of live draw this past weekend. And I get an email like this. Come on.
It's anonymous.
Yeah.
If there's no name on it.
Well, it's not. No. I know who the person was, but I'm being nice and not ripping them live.
Okay.
I already bawled them out, bitched them out privately, but I'm still letting it be known that it happens. Creators, we can't satisfy everyone. Why though? I mean, sorry that I didn't do whatever it is you thought I was supposed to do. I mean,
last time I checked, there's no rule book. There's
no
handbook. You're providing a service, and you know what? Your time's valuable. Your artwork's great. Why wouldn't you charge for it? I've seen so many people auction off artwork and God knows what. People are selling comic books. All they did was buy them. They didn't create them. They've been reselling them in auctions, everything.
That's okay. But if I do it,
whatever. Well, right. If they don't like it, don't watch you. I mean, go on to something else. Whatever. I mean, it's whatever. I wouldn't even worry about it. It's not even worth your eyes go scrolling over the question again, as far as I'm concerned. But whatever.
Yeah.
How many live drawings has this person done?
Who knows and who cares?
Okay. Next.
Yep. The next question or statement, in a way, was different anonymous, not the same person. You've been falling behind on comic reviews. What's up with that? You usually do 5 to 10 books a show. Is it because you don't have new comics to review since time and stop shipping? No, it's because I was doing 12 hours of live drawing and prepping for that, and I had other things going on in my life. Sometimes I just don't have the time to read everything and review it for prepping the show. That's all. Sure. I did. Yeah, I fell behind a little bit. This week I'll review some books again. But whatever. What do you want me to review? I mean, I keep telling people that are creators, send me copies. I'll review them. I get nothing in the mail. What do you want me to say? Send me a PDF. I'll read the PDF. I don't care, type thing. I can only do what I can do. And so.
And that's, I get, and how many reviews do they do? I mean, are they on a live show or they go? I mean, you can't do that. I don't know. Like I said, everybody's a critic, I guess.
Yep. Let's go ahead and let's see what else I gotta say, if anything. They don't. So if you got questions or remarks to make, you can email them to quothetheravenlbr72@gmail.com, subject to QTR questions, and indicate whether or not you want your name and locale read on air, or you just want to be anonymous. So that's fine. And, we'll see what comes up. And with that, that's the end of our questions. Let's get back to Albino Zulu.
Sure.
Let's show some of the artwork.
Sure. Well, as far as the albino itself, let me try to bring it up here. I'll try to get up. The front cover and the back cover I watercolored. I've got. I ended up taking the liberties of doing black and white on the interiors, and I did that because I wanted to intro kids into this as far as coloring book style. Oops, sorry.
Okay.
I wanted to give them a lot of the kids that were coming up to the tables and that were asking, do you have anything that can get us involved in comic books, or is there something that
production,
you have to, and I wanted something that one would be economical. I didn't want to have something that would be so costly that they couldn't afford it. If a kid comes up, a lot of kids they're 10 years old, they've got some allowance, they've got $3 or $4. They're looking for stickers, they're looking for whatever. I wanted something that they could at least an entry level that they could get into, and that's something that I wanted to. With what I did too is on the back, I've got a quick promo about myself, but I also left the space on the bottom so that I can do a hand sketch with a Sharpie. So whoever purchases, I'll end up doing a quick sketch of Albino or one of my other characters, like you did with Archimedes or whatever from another series. But I wanted something that was small, easy to carry around with you if you're at, not pamphlet size, but something you carry around with you, put it in a backpack if you're at the show. But I also wanted it limited production. So I ended up getting 50. I've sold, I want to say, I've got pre-orders for 20 of them right now. So they're coming in now. Emails have been coming in for them. But it's something to just get in. I was inspired by a Hellboy mini comic that came out. I think it was on the DVD, to be honest with you. And I ended up, I wanted something that was going to be smaller, just to run with Albino. I just wanted to see what we would do in a 5x8.
So that's a 5x8 book, and it's how many pages?
It's only 12 pages. The first book, it's only 12 pages. Right. But the second books, I'm trying to keep them down just so that
keep them same uniform size, right?
Correct. And then what we'll do is we'll have as the story rolls out, it'll be a mini series that's continuing, but it'll be a little bit more in depth. You'll find out a lot more about the character and exactly what his powers are, where he came from, why he's here, and but and I wanted something too. When you're looking at it, I wanted it to look like an engraving, like a wood, almost like it's been stamped. I wanted something really grainy, really, at the beginning, so that if kids are coloring it in, they've got shadows already on it. They can work around it, and they can understand the placement of ink and why I did it that way. Just to be stylized. I don't want it to be something to where they're not. Hold on a second. They're not. I wanted to show them just in different formats what you can do. You can take a story, an idea, produce it, print it off on your printer at home, and get it out to the world. Anyway, this is the second. This one here is the second book I'm working on now. That's the cover. Yeah, that's the cover. Okay. Agent Pang is the. It's a pangolin. It's if you even know what that thing is, but it's an endangered animal, and I have to say he's a badass agent. He's a real badass, and he's got a killer frisbee called FDR, and you're gonna love it. FDR is a real bitch. He's awesome, but it's a good thing. So, and they end up having a pretty good relationship and training and everything else, and it'll be a lot of fun. It's meant to be something to be, like I said, no brainer. It's not as intense as my other books, as Retrieve is, or as Grim 101 is going to be, and all that. Okay. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what you might want to do is have a coloring contest. And
that's one thing that we're implementing now. But go ahead. Tell me.
No. I just since you mentioned you were going to let the kids use it as a coloring book, I would have a coloring contest. And I don't know. Do you have any? Have you figured out what you're going to do for your prizes or anything yet?
Right. What we were going to do is I want to do a couple things. And my wife and I have been talking about my my business partner. She's got a few ideas. I think what we're probably going to do is I'm going to get and I'm working with parents too on this, because the parents will take a picture of the picture that they want to send in from the book, colored in, and then we'll put them on. We'll call it the refrigerator magnet.
Yeah, I get you.
Competition. And I think what we'll end up doing is we'll do, the winner will probably have a character in the book. That'll be made from their likeness. I think that'll probably be with their name.
Likeness or their description.
Yeah, and I think that'll probably be the way it'll go.
That's actually a pretty cool idea.
I think that and one of the things about the PDF in that is I have a printable version. So the PDF that you purchase for $2 is also, it'll have the coloring book version that you can print off on your printer at home, so that you can do that and then send me a picture of it or email it to me. And so it works out good. It's interactive. It's building interest for the kids, not just for me as clients, but they're growing into comic book.
It's building into the medium.
And it's showing them that they can read. Not all kids are going to read novels, man. That's not what it's about. This is about getting them interested. And pictures say 1,000 or pictures are 1,000 words, right?
Right.
So when you're looking at, all kids don't read the same way that a lot of us do. My son didn't, and it's something that really I wanted to put out a comic book. In general, a lot of my comic books are like that. They're great. They're good stories, and they're easy to read. They're easy to digest. And that's what albino is. And it's it was something too. I just wanted to not be so intense about like we were with Retrieve about reincarnation and everything.
Retrieve is an adult.
It is, and it's a concept that, but like other
it's not hard science fiction, but it's solid science fiction. Let's put it that way.
Right. And I wanted something too. You see these movies, you see these actors that they do these, not off Broadway movies, but like they do this grandiose Marvel movie, and then the next thing they do is a low budget, off the mark movie that's really good. But they did it in the time frame that they were off from the bigger movies. And that's kind of what I wanted with this book. I wanted something that I could write and produce easily while I've got downtime between the other books that I'm creating, the bigger books, if that makes any sense. This might end up turning into something more than what I expected, but
yeah, well,
that's why it's 12 pages.
Okay, so I need to type in where people go to reach you to get this.
Well, you can reach me at Ted Davies Artistry on Facebook. First off, that would be the first thing. Instagram, Ted Davies Artistry, pretty much, or any of them that you can get a hold of me through messaging or direct message. That would be probably the easiest. But usually I'll just go through Ted Davies Artistry on Facebook. So in that way you can get a hold of me, and we can go from there. But and then what I do is the print book is $3. Then there's shipping involved, depends on where you're at, and we'll take care of that. We'll figure out the game plan on that. Pay everything through PayPal. And then the PDF is all through PayPal, and it's $2. And you'll get the copy sent over. And I'll handle all that. I send everything over directly. So.
Oops.
Thank you for doing that too. So the front covers are going to be watercolor, the front and back cover. The interiors are going to be black and white, one from a cost-effective standpoint, but also for the kids to utilize. I want them to be able to color it in, enjoy it, and come up with something new. They might come up with something completely different from what I had, And I wanted a storyline that what could be the most opposite of origin stories than an albino in a Zulu tribe. It was completely crazy, and I said, well, maybe there could be a lot of learning in that in today's world. You could learn a lot about that, So, and I think that that's something that
But they could even color them as a normal.
they can do anything. They can do anything they want.
African American in a
Sure,
Zulu tribe, but he's got white hair. That's still albino.
It's up to their imagination too.
Exactly.
And that story evolves from that. Maybe there's something that they'll write in years to come that, humbly, if I did inspire them, fantastic. But that's it. That's the idea of ALBINO ZULU.
Well, no, I mean, it reminds me of Space of the Alien that I did back in the 90s.
Sure.
Because that's what I did, was a coloring comic book in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. Plus, I did, the stories were educational about going out in outer space and talk about the planets.
Cool.
Like that.
Cool.
The difference, I think, I didn't think of the time to do a contest. I wasn't thinking of that. I was too busy I was doing 4 books a month.
Yeah.
Myself.
That's insane. How many pages?
110 to 120 a month.
Wow. Shit.
And I was editing a bunch of other people's books, and I was going to school full time. So I was just one of those things, when you're 19, 20, 21 years old, you think you're invincible and you just do it.
I would pull all-nighters drawing houses and stuff. I would be at architecture school all day. Then I'd be designing homes at night for private clients. Mm-hmm. I'd be a wreck. I'd have to come home at lunch, sleep, because I was close to college, come home and sleep for an hour and then go back to, it was crazy living.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't sleep for 2 or 3 days.
No,
then I'd crash for like 5 hours, get up, go for 3 days. But I don't know why I was able to do that back then.
Well,
I can tell you that it's kicking my butt these days.
Sure.
I'm making up for lost time with sleeping.
Yeah, no doubt. That 2 o'clock in the afternoon nap, or that, where you start coming down about 2 o'clock from the morning coffee. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I get up 11, and I'm already getting that down from 2.
I got you.
But
I've been really, really happy with the end result with the book. The printer knocked it out of the park. I gotta say, I was very pleased.
And that printer's name was
Mixam. They are MIXAM.
Okay.
MIXAM out of Chicago. They are they've got I guess different printers established in Toronto, Chicago, Maryland. But they've been working through I don't know if they work something out with the state or whatever, but they've been working. It's a limited
production and
manned, yeah. And they're just, the thing about
it's very much like what Barry's doing down there with Indie Planet. He can do some, but he's not fully open right now.
Right, and that's these things are. And the shipping was awesome. I mean, I've had the books out. I just gave them the Red Light Tuesday a week ago, and they had everything shipped, ready to go. They sent me the proof online Friday, and they were shipped out Monday. So, I mean, I can't say enough about them. They were awesome. Sarah and Jessica that were there, if I had any issues, they called me right away. They relined any of the books. We changed the format a couple times, different sizing, and it worked out great. So I can't say enough about them. So, but I'll definitely be that'll be my go-to. I'm gonna definitely use them on everything I'm doing right now. And they've got some neat things that they do with the hardcovers, and so there's gonna be.
So they do hardcovers, they do color.
Oh
they do everything. They're full service.
Yep.
They're not just black and white printer or anything like that.
Nope, they're full. Yeah, they're the deal. And
Okay.
they're
websites you can still be the deal and still just be limited to certain types. I mean,
Sure. Well, within reason, I'm not going to send them I'm not going to send them a 5,000 page epic, that's guilty. But but I tell you what, for what we do, and for it would cost me more in time to cut everything out, print it all out, cut it all out, staple it, and then put it would be so much more time. The way that they've got it structured, and it's in the States, you can get it shipped to your house. And that's huge.
From mixing.
Forget the overseas garbage anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
something that when you say shipped, it's in the States and shipped to your home, you mean from them to you, or do you mean they can order it from them?
They print them in the States, or they print them in Canada, in Toronto.
Right.
And they'll get them to you. They do it the closest way, so there's less everything about it. They try to make it so that it's point A to point B, the least amount of time and energy used to get it. And I, that's how I do my, that's how I do it.
What I mean is, it's just from printer to publisher, not printer to consumer.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And I think that's, honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that we need to, as creators, we have to really, I have a lot of things that are other things that I do for like apparel and everything else that I handle through another company. They handle it all. I like having my books in hand and I send them out. I like signing them. I like giving, bagging, boarding, everything. And when I send it out so that they get that little extra that, I think that's the best way to do it. And I see a lot of authors do it. I see a lot of creators do it. And I think it's,
yeah, exactly. And, it's a good idea. I just hope that fans don't take it for granted that we do it, because
if you lose interaction with your fans and they don't know that you're doing it, that's one thing about Mike Mignola. His wife still sends out all the stuff from the garage, and people don't know that, and that's crazy when you think about the volume that they do. Yeah, she'll pick out the prints. That's pretty amazing that they still do that. There's certain things I'm sure they don't, but the majority of the stuff still comes out of their garage. That's crazy. That's really remarkable. And if you can, it's an extra step, and it takes time. But I think that's how you build a client base. I really do. But
what I mean is, when you have to go and do your little campaign on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, and they expect you to have all these extras before they'll even consider buying. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. It's I see. The
tchotchkes.
Whatever.
The tchotchkes. Yeah.
Well, you've seen me do the Axl Rose impersonation song of that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you know what I'm getting at.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to do it again. As amusing as it can be to some people, some people are annoyed by it. But I'm of the mindset that you can have it, but don't expect everything in the world too.
Right.
So but it's interesting though. Again, that is Albino Zulu. It's $3 for the print edition, $2 for the PDF.
Right, and then shipping too. We got to calculate shipping.
I should change that. Then let me go ahead and.
Thanks. PDF. Don't worry about shipping. We'll get it over to you, but we'll get it to you.
Okay.
Continental U.S. We can of course do the PDF overseas, but the.
Well, when you say continental U.S., you're not going to ship to Hawaii or Alaska?
No, of course. Yeah, I think we will. Strap on a homing pigeon somewhere. Small enough. We'll get one of the eagles up here. We've actually got 2 eagles that are on our street that are they feed the same time every day. I think that they must be a couple because they're out in the bay 2 times a day. It's pretty cool. That's a pretty neat a neat thing. I know you can appreciate that. But
yeah. There we go. I added plus isolate in the U.S.
Thank you.
But $3 plus shipping and handling for the print in the U.S. and $2 PDF. Contact Ted Davies Artistry via Facebook or Instagram.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, no, it's no problem. I always try to promote the stuff for everybody.
Of course you do.
But, they just, I don't know. Today, one of those days, I'm looking around. I'm waiting to see where our people are at because we only got myself watching on YouTube right now.
Okay. Well, you got a lot of things going this week. I know a lot of people have been out and the weather's breaking. We got actually, I think we're supposed to have snow tomorrow, which is crazy.
Yes. That was something else I put on my Facebook. That huge winter storm that's supposed to hit the whole Northeast area and the upper Midwest. I was like, yeah, okay. Well, at least I should kill the murder hornets for you.
Right. I was watching a couple things on the hornets that the bees were going after one of them, and then the other one, a praying mantis. Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah,
man, that was brutal. And then the one guy I saw, he actually got he's got a YouTube channel. He got stung by one on purpose. He put I'm like, are you nuts? Are you crazy? Are you nuts? Of course, he's got like 100,000 views. He's in agony. He's dying on the channel. But I'm like, whatever.
Oh.
And I
hope he was smart enough to have venom. I mean, you don't. I mean, I hope you were smart enough to at least have venom.
Right. They have to have something. And I don't think Benadryl's going to help.
I know there's people out there that are, stupider than stupid that do stuff like that. I mean, they got a TV show on, I can't remember what it is, Discovery Channel or one of these channels, where these two guys literally just go out and find the most poisonous animals and insects on Earth and get attacked. And then they go, what's wrong with you?
It's shock factor, man. I don't.
It's like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, go find the stingray that killed the crocodile hunter, and we'll just be done with you. I feel like saying, Right. And don't get me wrong, I'm sad that he passed away because it was unexpected. And
Steve was great. Yeah, Steve was awesome. But but I know what you're saying though. It's an interesting thing when we look at life, the way that we see it through the camera, because I mean, some of it's funny. When we were younger, when I was younger, we had a thing. It wasn't funny. It was called Faces of Death. I don't know if you remember that movie series, but they had this where they would document how terrible ways people would die, or silly ways. And they did one where there was an engineering student that jumped off a building. He miscalculated because they had no 13th floor. So the bungee cord was 10 feet too long. So when he jumped, that was basically that was the basis of the story. Okay, or the movie. It'd be silly things like that. The whole movie was like that. And but that was entertainment back then. And then you had, shows like Jackass. Right.
Jackass and all those other things. None of that stuff is amusing to me at all.
One show I do like now is Hot Ones, with the spicy food, and they do the 10 hottest spices, and they have actors and they interview them. And that's cool. I like that because some of them, now
the thing is, if I was 30 years younger or 35 years younger when I actually did do that kind of stuff, I'd go on the show. But today, no, thank you. I mean, I can tell you, you eat the wrong kind of food and you feel like your lips are burning off.
Right.
And not it's not the inner mouth, it's the lips. You're like, what the heck's going on here? Give me some water in the lip. Okay, is it blisters or what?
But that and then taking it to where you can actually have a conversation and a good interview. That's the beauty of it. It's not just the shock factor of somebody taking 200,000 Scoville, hot sauce, and they're dying. It's not that at all. I can remember back in 84 or 85, I was in junior high school, and they brought me 2 jars of Old El Paso jalapenos for lunch. Sure. And I ate them. And everybody just looked at me like I was crazy, but it's like, it didn't even faze me back then. I was just like, okay. we have a guy up here that has chocolate habaneros that he has in the greenhouses that he grows up here. And boy, let me tell you, they will blow your hat off. I mean, they are just you have to wear gloves when you're cutting them. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I love them. Oh God. I can't eat them a whole one, but man, that's a good time. when you make some hot sauce and don't tell anybody how hot it is. That's a good time. That's a real good time.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I enjoyed that stuff back then. But I don't know. It's just your stomach changes as you get older.
Sure,
I guess,
sure.
So.
Your palate changes too as you get older, and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I still like it, but
So what do we got next? I don't want to keep boring you with albino.
Oh no! You're not boring anybody. In fact, you can. What's that other picture behind you?
Sure. Which one? This one or this one?
The one that you just did the cover design for?
Yeah, this one?
No, no, the other one behind you on the wall.
Oh, that one, the cover. Gotcha.
That we can't see on the picture. Yeah, you got to pull that up and show everybody. Okay, that is a cover that you did for someone else's book.
Right. This is for Luke Stone. He had a Kickstarter, Hybrids, Sons of Gods. And they are, this is the limited edition before the badging and all the text went on. Mm-hmm. This is for Hybrids 5. And we just
Hybrids
had
number 5. Okay.
Hybrids number 5. So that one actually I think it's on sale now still. Check with Luke Stone though, but he's Luke Stone Studios. And it's done really well, better than I thought it was going to. But
and that's a watercolor piece again. I can see.
Yeah, right. It's got. I did quite a bit of different applique work with the inks, but we wanted something different. He's a digital artist, and it's very digital for me is very clean. It's too clean sometimes, and I like the rawness of what I can achieve with watercolor inks and the dirt. The dirt you can get. I like the rawness of it, but I wanted something that was. He doesn't draw like that, and that's not what he was looking for. Something completely different than, and he wanted to have a black and white interior, noir based interior. So he thought it'd be a good marriage for my type of style work that I do.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was cool. So I'm enjoying that. So
check
that one out.
Luke Stone Studios.
Correct, Luke Stone Studios, and you can get. I think that I'm going to have a couple copies shipped up here too. So I'll have a few things.
Okay.
Anybody's interested in that, but they're the Kickstarter. I don't know if it's still on. I think it's already done, but they Sons of Gods, Hybrids 5. So,
okay.
Yeah. And he did real well. He was I want to say he was like 300% over his goal. So it worked out really well. It was a really
that's awesome.
Very, very exceptional Kickstarter.
That's
really
good.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good.
Yep. So that was good. Thank you for letting me show that. That's a really good piece. So we're really excited about that. So
yeah. Well, I think you should be very proud of that piece actually.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's two-tone with the green and the grays.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, people are used to full overblown use of color on artwork now in comics.
Right. I wanted it muted. It actually
isn't that muted. It really isn't. For a two-tone cover, that's very vibrant.
Thank you. We don't, and I love digital, don't get me wrong, but I just think that there's something about everybody sees watercolor a little bit differently. That's one thing I've noticed, that there's certain greens that my wife can pick out better than I can. It might look gray to certain people. It looks yellow to some people, and that's the beauty of it. And then when you get a digital printout of it, it explodes because you can alter it, so many different ways if you want to. You can filter it down or not. So yeah. So very exciting. So thank you. What's that?
You make any prints of that poster?
I'm thinking about it. I haven't discussed it yet, but I was thinking about we were discussing it last week. So without any of the text, a lot of people have been asking just for the artwork. They don't want to have the. So I'll be thinking about that. So
yeah.
So
you got a digital file of it.
What's that?
You got a digital file.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that there's definitely a market for it. People have been asking. So, but I want to wait. I really wanted to sell the cover first. get it through Luke, so he's got
Makes sense. Speaking of prints, you have other prints for sale.
I do. I've got a series of 3 that I offer. I don't know if you got that picture up there. I can.
No, I don't.
You want me to grab them?
Yeah, if you could.
Sure. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
No problem. He's getting him out. It's a birthday prize for everybody.
Get him out of the print dungeon here. Okay. I've got.
What size are they? 8.5 by 11?
8 or 8.5 by 11.
Okay.
I do a lot of the curly tikis. That's my big. It's been a huge seller for me. Any of the tiki artwork that I do, people for some reason like them. Either you love them or hate them. But
actually, I've seen a lot of people do tikis and be very successful with tikis. I'm Hawaiian, and I was born in Hawaii, so technically I am Hawaiian.
Cool. Good deal.
And I just think it's funny.
Well, hey, that's good, man. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good. My Inner Punk has been a huge seller. That one is I've got the original artwork, but it's a lot larger. But my Inner Punk has been that's been my #1 seller for years. So
okay.
And again, my Skull Cap series, the ones that do the any of the Skull Cap series that I do, you'll notice that my artwork will be a lot related to skulls or tikis or very rockabilly-esque car culture. And then Green with No Envy has been a huge seller. That's all over T-shirts and that. But those 3 combined for $20, and then plus shipping. Okay. But I have other ones as well. But those 3 I'm doing for.
I knew you had a 3-print set going, and I just didn't.
And you can find the link on Facebook too.
Okay.
I've got the pictures on that. I've been doing a lot of these ones. These ones have been really selling quite a bit too. I've been doing a lot of these journey. I don't know if they want it ethereal. They're very.
I'm really just that's cool.
Thanks. I've been doing a lot of these.
It's like a fantasy.
This one's
it's an archer of some kind.
Right. He's it's kind of the journey. I name these journeys because they're not. I've got several of them that are just they've just come about not from watching Lord of the Rings, but very much like that,
Mm-hmm.
What
kind of animal is it, or is that a person?
It's a person.
Okay.
You see that? Yeah, you can see it on my Instagram too. They've got a lot of, but a lot of these guys are just. It's more so that I was inspired by people that do a lot of walkabouts, and they some of them look.
Put that up again, because the red one, a lot of walkabouts. Because that thing looks so anthropomorphic to me. It looks like a cat person or something.
We all see things differently.
Yeah, I like that though. That's cool.
Thanks. That's been. I was actually. A lot of artists like this one. I've had people come up and buy this that are artists that are they just like the way that the watercolor worked. A lot of them are they're not trying to copy, because I don't consider it copying. They're just trying to find their voice, their artwork.
They're looking at your artwork and trying to figure out how they can apply what you do to what they do.
Just like and I'm not comparing myself to them, just like we did with Kirby and the rest. I mean, we all have different artists that we inspire to, like Mike Mignola. How I am with Mike. And I don't have a
like Mike. If he could be like Mike.
Yeah, right. That's right.
What I do is send him a BPRD jersey with the number 23 on it.
Yeah, there you go.
See if he even gets the reference.
He might. He probably will. He's a pretty sharp guy. But yeah, my prints, the prints have been doing really well. It's nice because I've gotten a couple different outlets on how diversification is a key, and that's what I've been telling people. What are you doing that's different now since the COVID and all that? Diversify. You've got to evolve and diversify. You have things on hand that you can sell from Facebook or Instagram, You have other things that are on websites that will distribute for their own sake, whether it's T-shirts, whatever. Your artwork on a T-shirt, they can buy it 24/7, 365 days a year. You don't have to handle any of the packaging or any of it. They pay a premium for that, you know.
How
But
much you making per shirt on those?
what's that?
How much are you making per shirt on your setup per shirt?
I think that once it depends on how the company works it, because sometimes they run promos. So they'll do like $20 a shirt, let's say, and you're making anywhere from $5 to $10 a shirt. But then it drops down if they run a special for like $12 a shirt. You're only making maybe $2. But you did it one time. It's all how you look at it. It's you're back to that thing about taxes and everything else. You know, it's all relative. You did this one time and you're still getting paid for it. You have to look at it from that standpoint. You don't look at it from, oh man, I'm not making the $7, whatever.
Right.
You don't even know the person that bought it. They bought it. You never met the person. They bought it in Indonesia, whatever. I mean,
maybe you see them at a show and they're wearing your shirt and you go, "Hey, you bought my shirt. Thank you." You know,
I've sold things in Germany, and then that I wouldn't have known the person. You know, if I met him on the street, I wouldn't know him from Adam. But or in Japan, I have more people that follow me from Japan that want my stuff. That, you know, you're never, and I'm not saying I am a prophet, but you're never a prophet in your own hometown. You know, my brothers and my sisters and that are all supportive, but you know, they have my artwork hang on the wall. Not a big deal. That's my little brother. You know, but then I've got other people that, you know, pay top dollar, you know, that are, I'm flattered, I'm humbled, you know. So it's all relative, but
Yep.
But
Yeah, well, I keep waiting for the people who bought all my stuff in the '90s to show up again. You know, I mean, just, you know, to come out of the, oh my God, I remember you. I have stuff for you. You know?
You're still doing that. You're still doing that comic thing. Yeah. We're still doing that comic thing. Yeah.
Well, no, not even that. I mean, I did an acrylic predator painting. Yeah. That was like 24 by 36 inches.
Sweet.
And I sold that at Motor City Con.
Yep.
And I sold a Sandman family portrait that had Morpheus, Death, and one with the weird hair. Delirium.
Delirium, yes. They're awesome characters.
That was a mix of pen and ink with acrylic.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I sold those back in '94, I think. Yeah. And, you know, I kind of wonder, after all these years, are they even still in existence? You know? Kind of thing, you know. It's that kind of a thing for me, you know. I mean, you know, I mean, I know what's happened to a lot of my art. It got stolen and destroyed, you know, but
that's a shame. That's a shame.
Well, we moved.
Create more. Get it
exactly.
out there.
That's all you can do. Just put more out there. You know, it's kind of like that Shane Davis situation. I don't know if you've read about that online.
No.
Shane Davis, an artist for DC and Marvel, his portfolio was in the back of a vehicle that was sold or something. And the guy won't give him back the artwork and was threatening to destroy the artwork and stuff. So he went to meet the guy, and the guy basically MMA knocked his ass out. And then the police came, and they didn't give the guy back his art. You let the guy keep the art. It's like, what the heck is? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I just like, you know, as someone who has lost artwork to publishers, I had a publisher. I did a 200-page graphic novel that's been published. It will never be published. He failed to pay me, and I sued him.
Yeah.
And so he destroyed the artwork. And we went to court, and the judge is like, well, how about I just take your house from you to pay for the damages? And his wife had just given birth. And I said, no, that's not, we don't need to take the guy's house away, you know, for that. But how about 2 years in jail? And he says, I'm down with that. And the guy went to jail for 2 years.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow.
Well, you figure 200 pages of artwork times $150 a page. You know, that's
that was a vengeful act. That is, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't do that to people. It's one thing if you guys have you don't do that. You don't damage. That's not the right way to do it.
No, if you're not going to publish me for whatever reasons, and
work it out the other,
right. And I'm not going to let the woman go homeless because of her husband. I just told him, while he's in jail, if he doesn't figure it out, divorce him and get your house for yourself, or sell it or do. But
wow.
That was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I lost my house in Nevada was because of that situation. But because when you lose that kind of money, you lose that kind of money.
Sure. I understand that.
But that's life, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's cool. Well,
I appreciate you letting me show all that work. Thank you.
Thank you. No problem. You know me. Anytime I have anybody on the show, I let them show whatever I know that we can show. And sometimes I show stuff that they're like, "What? How did you find that?"
Where'd that come from? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, what do you mean you know about that work I did when I was 14?
Right. I had somebody pull up. I won an award when I was 17 at an architectural school in Detroit, and the college they were giving. They ended up having. I won an honorable mention on it, and I had somebody send me an email that they found the original newspaper clippings from it. Me and my mullet, and it was I remember it. But I remember the dinner and everything. I remember it was great, very prestigious. But that mullet was legendary. That was, yeah.
Well, how old? Well, you're a little bit older than me, maybe. Or maybe you're a little bit younger than me, aren't you? You're what? Are you 43, 44?
Nope, 49.
49. Okay, then you are 1 year older than me. Okay.
Yep.
I couldn't remember if you were 1 year older or a few years younger.
I'm 49. Yep. Yeah. Just turned 49 last week. So, 23rd of April, a couple weeks ago.
Okay, and I turned 48 in March.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Yeah, but so that would be what? 87, 88?
88. 88. Yep. Yeah, I think I might even have had I don't think I had the Miami Vice shirt or coat on, but I probably did back then. God knows. I don't know. But
yeah. Am I Sonny Crockett or am I MacGyver?
Yeah, I mean, I might as well have been driving a DeLorean or something. It was this tragic. It was something out of
I had MacGyver hair for a while. People used to call me that. They used to call it was weird. They couldn't make up their mind they wanted to call me MacGyver because I had the hairstyle like him.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they wanted to call me Wolverine because I was 5'3" and you didn't want to fight me.
That's cool. Yeah, I was pretty skinny back then.
Beats up people. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
My brothers and my sister enjoy the mullet years. So.
Yeah.
I remember when you had a mullet. Yeah, all that. Yeah, great. Thanks for bringing that up. So.
I remember when you. Yeah, I had hair. Yes.
I've had people ask me too. I said, "Do you have hair?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a full head of hair, but it's they."
Yeah, I knew you did.
Wearing a hat. You're always wearing a hat on. I said, "That's my, that's Ted Davies artistry." So. That's it. I got a shtick. Everybody's got a shtick somewhere. So that's it.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I can't afford to dress up as a raven all the time.
That's cool.
Could you imagine me wearing a plague doctor mask?
Yes, that would be very apropos right now. Everybody's. I've seen people go to stores. I've seen people go to stores online like that. That's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But
it's that, and then a cape with feathers. Walk around. That would.
That's cool. I know that my wife
around here they probably call the cops and have me shot the way they did to that poor kid that was dressed as a stormtrooper.
Yeah, what was that about? I was reading an article on it. I'm like, what? They had a guy that was crazy things are going on. They had a guy in Flint, I think, up here. They got shot. Security guard because he confronted the person shopping that they needed to wear a mask before they entered the building. Terrible. I mean, come on. Let's get what are we doing? What are we doing? But yeah, the stormtrooper, that's,
yeah.
I don't understand that at all. There's
Yeah.
so many other things we should be pulling together right now.
I guess in a way, I mean, they consider that a form of armor. And, is the gun real or not real? And given all the stuff that we've had with schools, and I think that was around a school building, I could understand. But at the same time, when you realize that the kid is surrendered, you don't need to shoot them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
not, you're not in control of your fire. I mean, there's not.
Yeah, there's no excuse for what happened there either.
No, sickening. I think that there's a lot of good things happening right now too. I think that there's a lot of good, but it's just sometimes you gotta look for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, I mean, we see so much stuff on the news, particularly on internet news.
Yeah.
That's negative, but yet, I talk to my father because I don't watch TV news, and
I don't either.
He doesn't know what's going on. He's like, what do you mean that happened? I'm like, yeah, and I'd show him the article. What the heck, man? They didn't mention that on the news.
Yeah, of course not. Right.
Well,
we got to curate our stuff. I mean, I tell you that all the time. You got to curate what you're ingesting. Just like when you're eating, you got, whether you're reading it or whatever. You ingest shit, you're gonna get a shit attitude. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It kills your creativity.
Yeah. Well, no, it was just weird because I mean, he'll hear, like he didn't know that the bass singer from the Statler Brothers passed away. They didn't know anywhere on the TV, and it was like that. I mean, it wasn't. If he had died of COVID-19, it would have been on. It would
hit the news. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but because he died of complications from long-term kidney cancer or whatever it was, long-term illness, and he was old. I mean, he was 80 or 81 when he died. Nobody cares. Why not? He was a performer. He was
sure. He touched a lot of people. Yeah, he touched a lot of people.
I wouldn't mention that. I mean, yes, it's sad, but I mean, I'd rather hear about that and know he's gone than have another 2 hours of, hey, look who Trump fired today and hired to replace him.
Right.
But
who cares about ratings? Who cares about what? Yeah. Though we've been having a lot of issues up here with the. I shouldn't say that. We had a lot of issues with protesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm aware of it.
And that's. I'm all about protesting, but when when people are starting to threaten. It's the intention.
If you need to protest by walking around,
yes,
with firearms and loaded weaponry, you're not protesting.
Right. You're not interrogating.
You're instigating a conflict.
It's intimidation, and at its worst. And bullying is bullying, and that's one thing I don't. We talk a lot about that in comic books about bullying, and we got to pull together. I mean, that's the thing here. We'll get through this. We just have to. Got to be human beings. You have to be a human being first before you're inhuman, and you got to just don't cross that line. Be a good person. Make the world better. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I want a haircut. Okay, hold on a second. Here you go. Here's a razor. Just cut it off. It'll grow back.
Go to Walmart. Get yourself a razor. I mean,
exactly.
How hard is that? You're already going to Walmart anyway. I mean, put a mask on. Go to Walmart.
Yeah. Go get your razor and cut it at home.
Right.
I don't want to look bad. It's gonna grow back. I mean, believe it or not, you wouldn't know it. I've cut my hair twice. Because I had it sticking out. And because my back of my hair goes in wavy curls.
Sure.
And it was like out here in the back. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. So I trimmed it down.
I'm just growing for the mullet again. I'll just wear the mullet until I can't wear this hat anymore because it's just I got my Hebrew fro growing. So I'll just let it go.
Well, you're inner punk again, right?
You're right. That's right. We, Christine jokes about it because we've had conversations where she'd be half asleep. I say, hey, I'm going to go shave my head. Hey, okay, that's cool. So I go shave my head to come back. Not the right thing to do. She's like, you look like a concentration camp victim. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's hot. Well, so
Mhm.
I like, I think short hair, it's practical, but
Right.
I've got curly hair, and in the summer, it just, it goes, it's frizzy and you can't do much, especially in Michigan, So either you embrace it or you shave it. So whatever.
Yeah, well, I usually kept it short, but right now I just, they're not open. and, and you figure by the time they are going to be open, everybody and their cousin's going to want an appointment. So it's you're going to, do you want to sit there and fight, or do you just, okay, I'll wait some more. That's
is it really that big of a deal? I mean, I get people's they're getting
their vanity. It's their vanity.
Yeah, and it's ego, and you're back to they took away our rights and everything else, and it's just.
I mean, you do not have a right to a haircut.
Right. Well, we got people right now, like I read an article. The guy, he's an older gentleman. He owns a barber shop in Michigan, and he's got the mask on. He opened up. He's not supposed to. So right off the bat, he's got a mask on. His nose is exposed. No gloves. He's cutting the guy's hair. Young kid or younger guy. No mask on. Nothing. I mean, even there's no precaution. It was. It'd be one thing if he tried at least. And they're shutting him down, and they should. They should find his ass, and they should shut him down.
Yeah.
Because he's making it everything.
I mean, for God's sakes, you wear gloves, because beauticians wear gloves all the time anyway.
Yeah. Don't why fan the flame? You've got all these people sick. Why? I just don't get it. You have to be smart about it. And I understand people want to have their rights, and I understand people get a little crazy, when people say
if it's that bad, you know who your customers are. And if you're smart about it, you've given them you've given out cards, they know how to contact you. If you're that determined, do home service.
That's a good point.
Stop you from doing that. They can't.
That's a good point. Point. Well, and I understand that there's certain things we have to follow, laws and that. And I understand there's people that are in charge for a reason. They're elected officials. I get that. Don't always agree with them. I get you on both sides of it. I don't always agree with them. But there's a certain lead by example, I think, that you need to have. And we try. It's hard, but you know that there's reasons why these things are put in place. And you can make every type of absurd, they're controlling us because they're going to vaccinate, you can go on and on and on, all the conspiracy theories. But when it boils down to it, I wear a mask when I go out, not for me, but for the other person in case if I'm asymptomatic, you know what I mean? Asymptomatic. I don't think it's about me. It's about the other person. Well, I think that's what people have to realize.
I have to wear it because of my father.
Sure. Well, you do it because your father. You see, you're doing it for the other person. You're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't afford to get it because if I get it, he's the one who's going to probably end up paying for it.
I've got friends that are they've got very low immune systems, and that's it, man. They get sick, they're done. I mean, and I haven't seen him in months because of that. I've been very careful about who even my in-laws. I don't, they live 4 miles away. I haven't seen him in probably a month and a half, because all this was going on, and just not, and I don't even go out. I mean, I'm very limited on what I do, and it's not to be because I'm scared of it. I just want to make sure I'm thinking about the other person. We limit who goes to the store. We're very careful about it. Just for right now, it's going to be like this for at least 18 months, is what they were saying, and this is it's just our norm right now. You just got to be careful.
Yep.
So. And you know what? I've been creating a lot. There's been some really good things coming out of this. So I mean, there's, and that's, I think that the interaction. I think that a lot of people are going to be going to their ideas now of staying and working at home a lot easier now, because this has been kind of an awakening for a lot of people, if you want to call it that they can manage. They can do this. They can make it happen. So maybe their plan B is their is what they're going to be doing in the future. I remember gas prices being a hell of a lot more expensive. We can't go anywhere right now, but the gas prices are nice.
Yeah.
So, but sorry, what were you going to say?
Actually went up. I don't know what your prices are, but they went up 15 cents in the last 4 days here.
It went to $1.75. No, $1.50. It was, what was it, Chris? $1.75. I think it went up 25 cents over the last overnight. We're still at like $1.60 or something, which is crazy. I mean, it's like college.
We were at $1.29. We're now at $1.50.
Right. It went up that. Yeah. I think it. So you just.
But then again,
we aren't driving anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I have to start the car and move it every 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just so it it doesn't. The brakes don't seize up on it. But
well, that plus you want to do it more often than that, and at least start the engine and run it a little bit, so your battery doesn't go bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what happened to us with one of our vehicles. We had to take the battery out and get it take it to the battery place to get it recharged.
Yeah. Well, I know it's been sitting too long when you hear the tires go thump 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 while you're driving because you've got a flat spot, and I'm like, okay, we gotta get out there and drive a little bit more.
Yeah.
That was one thing too about the Comic-Cons now. So Florida MegaCon's canceled.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that. And that's so a lot of people are up in arms about that. I really think it's too soon. I think it's too soon, man.
For God's sake, they're sitting here telling you already that, how can you be complaining about MegaCon when they haven't opened up Disney World? They haven't opened up any of the places that are normal down there.
You barely have restaurants open. What are you talking about? I'm not saying it's a cesspool, but it is. I mean, you're going into this. I don't know. I don't know how it's our norm now. Our normal is going to be 6 feet apart with masks on and gloves. It's going to be it, and that's fine. It's fine. I mean, I just don't know how it's.
I don't know if it's going to be our norm. I mean, yes,
for a little while.
But what I mean is, when we get back to doing conventions, if and when, and eventually we will. But people are going to have to learn. Cosplayers, you're not going to be able to be half naked. It's just not. We're not going to allow it anymore. We can't.
No.
You're not going to be doing body painting and all that stuff.
Any face painting, forget it. Forget any of that stuff.
Well, face painting, when I say body paint, I'm talking about they're basically walking around with a thong. And they're painted up black Venom person or whatever.
Yeah, right.
No, that kind of stuff I'm talking about. We got to get rid of. Things like that. Pictures. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do about photo opportunities with people. Because I mean, everybody wants to do their group hugs and whatever.
Right. Well, I see a lot of the people, especially the ones that have been around, like the guys have been doing this for 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing any shows. They're not going to do any shows until after, because they're saying that in the fall, we're supposed to get more of a kickback on all this COVID. They're not doing anything until the next season. They're going into March, April next year. I think that's a smart move. I think if we build what we're doing right now, build our books up, get our game plan together, get the printer, get your stuff, get everything organized, and then next spring, after everything's settled down and maybe they have a vaccine by then, which I'm not crazy about anyway, but at least they've got it down. The numbers are down, so then release it. But I don't think that I really don't think that this year is going to be. I don't see how they're going to be able to handle it. The social distancing alone is going to be logistics nightmare. I can't even imagine. And the liability insurance, if somebody gets sick from that environment, it's on. And God forbid somebody dies.
You're not going to get liability insurance.
I don't see how they're going to manage it. I just can't imagine. We have a farmer's market here that's opening Saturday. I think it's way too soon, and I don't know how they're going to manage it. I have no idea how they're going to manage it. It's an open air market, but I don't know how they're going to manage it.
Yes, it's an open air market, but that's the point. The virus does travel through air, so I mean,
we're on a lake. There's moisture all over the place. I don't know what. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. you know, and I'm just thinking about us. If it's nationwide, you know, I don't know.
I know.
So there's and then, you know, our population is older, and you know, I mean, I go on and on and on. But I think that there's we got to be smart about it. It's driving me batty, you know, being an OCD that I am, going out, making sure that I'm not wearing the shoes in the house, or I'm not. It's driving everybody. I know I'm not the only one. It's driving my wife crazy. You know, she'll go out, and we have a protocol when she gets home. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, and you know, it's just it's crazy. It's nuts, and I'm sure you do too. I'm sure it's driving. I mean, your father. You got to go out and get food. You got to do, you know,
Not really. I mean, 90% of the time I cook at home.
Right. We do too. It's
just that I get tired, or, you know, I get more annoyed with him. It's like, hey, you know, I didn't take anything out for dinner. Why didn't you take something out for dinner?
Right.
You know, or, you know, what? You know, you're a grown ass man. You can cook once in a while.
Right. I've heard that. My wife's a saint, man. She's the best cook in the world. But yeah, I know you can tell. It's just like she's had, you know, maybe we should order out tonight. You just have to, like, you know, or something. But that's
you gotta take a break once in a while.
Curbside
delivery.
That's weird. That's a new thing too that I'm getting. That, you know.
Oh no, curbside delivery's been there for a long time. It's just that.
Do you tip the people? Do you not tip them? Do they not want money? You know, do you know, cash? How does that work? Because there's a certain, I feel obligated, even though the person just came out of this. We drove over there to get it. I still feel like, you know what I mean? You should give them a couple bucks, something, you know. But so there's got to be some protocol. I should probably check that out online.
Maybe. I mean, there's always been curbside to go at places.
Right.
Applebee's, and
you know, A&W root beer was such a godsend when I was a kid, man.
Oh my God.
Tuesdays, footlongs, man. That was like it. You know, when I was a kid, I loved that. You know.
Yes, I remember the A&W. Where was your A&W at?
Well, we had one in. Well, I grew up in Detroit, but we had one in the
so you were in Detroit. Okay.
Farmington. Yeah, Farmington was. Well, the one in Standish is still open here. So that's you know, it's they still have curbside now. Everybody's in a mask, but you can go there and get your 2 liter or your gallon of
A&W up in Skoda, between Skoda and Follies and I think they closed.
It's not there anymore. It's not.
No, I know it's not.
I
think it closed like a year and a half after I left in '94.
Yeah, the one in Standish is still growing strong. So
cool. Yeah.
But the one in Detroit, you know, Tuesday nights, man, that was it. Tuesday nights was my brother Phil and he'd pick, you know, because I'm much younger than them. He would, you know, he'd get the car and we'd go, you know, and the footlongs were, it was great. I really good memories of that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you miss stuff like that. You know. We miss stuff like, you know, people are worrying about movie theaters because all the people are releasing their movies now on digital. And
I got to say though, dude, I mean, the Star Wars, going and seeing Star Wars is one thing, but I was talking to Chris about this. I'm enjoying the hell out of staying home and being able to pause the movie or go back. And I mean, I'm digging that big time. I mean, I have such a better experience being able to do that. And, you know, as I get older, pause it and go use the bathroom. I mean, that's the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
yeah, the experience of going to see a movie in a theater or a drive-in is who you go to the theater with.
I agree with that.
And, you know, if you don't, you know, I almost never go unless I've got one or two friends or both of them.
Right. Right.
You know, because I just don't enjoy going and just sitting in the dark to watch it. But
right.
I can just wait for the DVD. It'll be cheaper and
right.
You know, get it that way. And the reality is, even the worst of the DVDs that give you next to nothing give you more than the movie.
Right.
So it's like, you know, okay, fine, I'll watch that. I'll wait for that. You know, and you know, people are always like, well, why haven't you seen such and such? I don't care. You know, I can remember. Guardians of the Galaxy came out around Volume 2 came out around my birthday, I think it was.
Right.
And so did Colossal with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
and my friend had already seen Guardians 3 times with other people.
Wow.
And he was like, well, I'll take you to see it anyway. I mean, I'll go see it. I'm like, no, you won't. We're going to see Colossal because I don't give a damn about seeing Guardians.
Yeah.
I care about Marvel movies. I only go to these comic book movies because you and Trixie want to go. And we're going to go see the movie that I want to go watch. It's my birthday. So we went to see Colossal, and he came out with tears streaming down his face because he was like, that was so much better than Guardians.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Guardians, the first one wasn't bad, but I knew the second one.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we ended up getting the Blu-ray, and we like all the music. The soundtrack's great, So that I liked. We didn't see that in the movie theater. I think we saw the first one, but in the movie theater.
In the movie theater.
Yeah.
People bitch.
Star Wars has always been. Even in '77, I went there. I was 6.
Yeah.
And I remember going to it. I remember how big the theaters were. The theater was massive. When I was a kid.
The funny thing is, I don't remember seeing Star Wars in the movie theater.
I remember standing in line. I mean, it was crazy. But I've always gone every single one. We've always, gone to the theater.
Right. I was 5, and I know that I had all the toys because my mom worked in the toy store. She got me all the Star Wars toys. So I wouldn't have wanted the Star Wars toys or the Marvel Star Wars comics if I hadn't seen the movie.
Right.
In the theater. But I don't remember seeing the movie in the theater.
Yeah.
But when Empire came out,
the best one. Sorry, it's hands down.
They had
one out of all of
them in Savannah, Georgia, called the Oglethorpe Mall.
Yeah,
and they had Darth Vader and Boba Fett there.
Oh,
but I don't. But it wasn't.
Still remember it.
Yeah,
it was. Remember it.
Well,
wow.
Well, yeah. When you're 8 years old, and you're waiting in a line. And then you actually see this imposing figure of Darth Vader there.
Right.
And you hear the breath, and he's staring down at you.
Oh,
I don't want to go near this guy.
right after it
Boba
came
Fett,
out,
I was happy to see, but not Darth.
my dad was I was real fortunate because he liked to travel and do things. So he took my mother and I out to California, and we went to the Chinese theater, and we saw C-3PO and R2-D2's imprints on the cement. Oh man, I was in Darth Vader. Oh my God, I was done, man. I was like 8. It was like right after it. So and we're in Hollywood, and it was insane. It was insane. I mean, and they weren't even there. It was just their imprint.
Yeah, it's just they're real.
Right.
Look, the imprints are right there.
It was crazy. Yeah, they stood right here. And I was a kid, I was impressionable, but man, I'll never forget it ever, Yeah, but that's the whole experience about whether it's storytelling or whatever, whether it's comic books or whether it's Star Wars, movie theaters. I think that we've been damn lucky to be in this particular time period because of all the digital, everything that we've got at our fingertips now of what we can accomplish and watch and learn from. I'm very much a video based learner. I like to read, but man, I like video a lot. In today's world, God, not having a VHS anymore or having to deal with that, renting and all that crap. God, man, what a blessing. What an awesome thing we got.
I would love to still have Blockbusters for DVDs. I would probably.
It was pretty cool. We were using them up till 3-4 years ago. We were still doing that,
Yeah, but I mean, I don't use Redbox. I just don't. But that is what
that's going to go to the wayside too after this whole ordeal. You watch. I think that's going to be gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, DVDs are going out soon. DVDs and Blu-rays are going to go out for streaming straight up. I mean, I hate to say this.
Digital. I mean, this digital down. It's done.
Yeah.
I think it's on the way out.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the software.
But it's like they want me to pay my $8 or however many dollars it is to have Disney Plus and then DC,
Netflix.
And I'm just kind of like, no, I'll just wait for the program to come out on DVD and get the DVD set. That's how I watched Titans. That's how I watched Swamp Thing.
There's only so much you can watch. I mean, I get that, and there's things that
it's not that. It's just the point that first off, I don't have a TV that can do streaming. and I don't want to go buy a TV that can do streaming particularly.
Yep.
And I don't want to sit there on the computer all day streaming and watching. I do enough of that with just YouTube.
Sure. Well, you're curating, like we were talking about. You're curating what you're ingesting. That's good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is what it is. But okay. Well, speaking of stuff that we've been ingesting, I guess we should talk about our reviews for the week before we get you going.
Very important.
So you want to call off for night, or are you just going to sit and watch?
I'm going to have to get going. But yeah, I appreciate your time so much, man.
Oh, no problem.
Try to have you stay safe. Take care of your dad.
Yep.
All right.
All
Thanks.
Right,
Bye.
yep. Good one. All righty. That was Ted Davies. And, again, if you want to get his book, Albino Zulu, or any of those prints, you can reach him at contact Ted Davies Artistry at Facebook or Instagram. The book is $3 in print with shipping and handling, plus shipping and handling, rather, or $2 for the PDF. And those poster prints that he had for sale were $3 for $20. Again, you can contact him on Facebook or Instagram at Ted Davies Artistry. And so we will quickly go to our reviews. Our first book is Exterminator 17, and I'm going to get rid of our brand for TV 16 there so you guys can read it. And that is publisher is Titan Comics Stags Press. It is $39.99. The writer is Jean-Pierre Dionnet. The artist is Enki Bailao and Igor Barranco. The science fiction genre, 240-page hardcover, ISBN 978-1-7586-733-0. What it's about is warrior robots known as exterminators are strewn across the galaxy, fighting in service of their human masters. The creator of these robots has become old and ill and questions his own part in the creation and usage of these robots. But when his body dies and the creator of these machines finds his mind or soul, depends on how you look at it, trapped in an exterminator, he faces the truth of his actions and must begin a whole new war to save himself and those whom he has created. Recommended for ages 17 and up, and fans of science fiction war books and films, such as Starship Troopers, Old Man's War, The Forever War, different types of things of that nature. I gave it a 5 out of 5 star rating. It is an oversized book, as you can see. Nice, heavy, big book here. Good hardcover. Main reason I got it is Enki Bailao is one of the big names of European comics. And I was just wanting to get into some European comics in more recent times. And so I did that and, was exploring that. And this is one of the guys I went ahead and went and explored their work. And it's a very good series. They are doing, very much the same type of motifs that you were going to see in some of the books I just mentioned, like John Scalzi's Old Man's War or the Starship Troopers series, where you're defining yourself by fighting these wars, or what makes you human or not human by being, are you a human anymore because you're in this robot fighting for other masters, serving other masters? Do you earn new life? As a citizen, or new life as another being when you're done or not? Are you just a thing to be used by other people now? Well, all those things are questioned in the book, and very well done. And we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at some of the artwork for it. Now, this particular version is from Titan. Static Press. I think there is a newer version out that's in recolored version that has a little bit brighter color palette. I don't know. But this is like the second and third pages of the story. And they're watching video footage of I'm trying to think of the word. Not an attack, but deployment of the robot soldiers. And you see this last panel. I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a robot that says 17 on the top, an Exterminator 17. Now, the reason that it says that is because it's the 17th iteration or version of the design of the robot, and the first one that actually worked correctly. And it was done with genetics of the lead character, the human creator, using his genetic material to make all these kind of like clone robots. And like I said, he's very old now, and his body's failing him. And he says, stop, enhance that image. And he's telling them to don't lose sight of that particular robot. And he realizes, oh my gosh, there's one left after all these years of fighting, because they're like well advanced beyond the 17s. They're like the 30th or 35th version of these things now. And there was a 17 that had survived all these things, and that's what they're talking about is 16 tries, 16 aborted attempts. The 17th iteration was the first operational specimen. And it was the last time that the master used his own cells. So it's more than just a lookalike. It's himself, younger at 30 years old. So you can understand his feelings at seeing it again, especially today. And then at the end of the battle, he's leaving. He's left the area. And they've already fought into a peace treaty. And since there's no more need for them and they can't be retrained, they have programming in their bodies that'll shut them down immediately and they die. So here's this guy that, survived all these wars from the first model that worked all the way through, that now after all that he's just going to drop dead, and the pain of that and the sadness of that is expressed. I thought that was just a very elegant, very wise storytelling, and I really enjoyed that for those purposes. And so that's one of the reasons why I gave this book a 5 out of 5. I'm not going to go into what actually happens, but ultimately the old man finds himself in a new body of one of these, and he has to fight for his own safety and for that of the others. But I'm not going to go any further than that. Like I said, I just recommend it to you very highly. So if you can find it, it's called Exterminator 17. And this version is from Static Press and Titan Comics. Okay. It's $40, $39.99. Our next book is The 6 Voyages of Lone Sloan, again, published by Titan Comics. This book is by Philip Droulet. Again, the genre is science fiction. It's 72 pages. ISBN number 978-1-78276-105-1. What it's about. A cosmic game has begun, and Lone Sloan is the pawn they all want to play. Traveling alone in the cosmos, Sloan, a solitary interstellar explorer, has become imbued with mystical powers. He finds himself escaping one power-seeking madman only to be captured by another. Follow Sloan through 6 unpredictable Lovecraftian journeys from space pirates to dragons to ancient gods. Recommended for 17 and up, another 5-star book. Now, I didn't scan any pages in there, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick look. Again, it's an oversized hardcover book. And Julie is a very popular French artist. It's translated into English. I just really enjoyed Julie's art on this. The story is a little bit basic, I guess, in a way. It's kind of simplified of certain ways of kind of like a 7 Voyages Sinbad type of thing, but in a way it's referencing that. It's a 6 Voyages of Lone Sloan, but again, good series. There's a lot of Lone Sloan books. We're going to get into the next one very shortly here. And we'll have a little bit better look at what his work looks like. Again, this is 72 pages for $17.99. The next book we have is Lone Sloan Salambo. It is, again, from Titan Comics Static Press, $39.99. Creator is Philip Goulet and Gustave Flaubert. Genre science fiction, 186 pages, hardcover, oversized. ISBN number 978-1-78586-664-7. And this one is what we call a heady perfume of blood and rage across a star, starring Philip Goulet's legendary Lone Sloan. Goulet fuses the ancient Punic Wars with his space fantasy universe to create an intoxicatingly psychedelic take on a literary classic. In the Punic Wars of the 3rd century before Christ, barbarian mercenaries employed by Carthage rose against their employers, and 2 clan chiefs, Matho and Narvajas, each fell in love with the beautiful and ethereal Salambo, the daughter of Hamilcar of Carthage. Bloody conflict arose, immortalizing Flaubert's famed 19th century novel. But now Philip Goulet brings that story and adapts it and brings it into the far future. His artistic magic and transcendent storytelling reinvigorates ancient romance and rage, unleashing it into the depths of space with his popular sci-fi hero, Lone Sloan. Recommended for 17 and up. I give it a 4 out of 5 instead of a 5, largely because it's not an original story. It's him kind of adapting the classic storyline of Salambo from Flaubert. Mm-hmm. And only for that reason. We're going to take a quick look at the book here, the cover. Again, nice, thick, hardcover edition, oversized. And there are a few other Lone Sloan series, Delirious and Gale. I could give you the other ISBN numbers on them, but I don't have those books. Sometimes, I get what I can with different titles. Sorry. I had to move the camera to do something and didn't put it back right. But let's take a quick look on the interior artwork for this particular book. Mm-hmm. just really dynamic, interesting layout designs in terms of the storytelling and symbolism. I like how the guy breaks down different things with, or rather, how Droulet lays out pages and does certain things with storytelling. Again, I would give this one a 4 out of 5 because it isn't a completely original story. He is adapting from Flaubert's storyline, but it's still interesting enough, and but I would recommend the Six Voyages in a way. This has got more meat to it story wise than the other one, but in terms of originality, I guess you could say the other one's more original. And it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another, I guess. But can't argue that he is one of the exceptional artists out there, and I think it's worth your time to consider exploring. And I think our last book of the night, yes, our last book of the night will be the MLJ Companion. The publisher is Tomorrow's Publishing. Writer-editors Rick Offenberger, Paul Castiglia, and John B. Cook. Artists are various. The genre is superhero/comics history. 288 pages, ISBN number 978-1-60549-067-0. What it's about is it's an amazing retrospective on the history of Archie Comics superheroes from the 1930s to the present. There's multiple original comics from the 1930s reprinted in the book, about 60 or 80 pages worth of stories. Dozens of articles and reviews with the creators who created and or rebooted the characters over the years. Top-notch historical research. I learned a lot of stuff from this book about the history of not only Archie MLJ comics, but of the early comics history of the comics industry, the history as a whole. Very impressive effort by the people who put this book together. It's recommended for Archie comics fans and comics history buffs, really of all ages, but I guess older readers, teenagers, late teens, early 20s, who want to start to learn really what the comics industry was really like. This would be a good book for you to check out. It's $34.95. I give it a 5-star rating. I didn't get any interiors, but I'll go ahead and show you some of the early reprint stuff they did. The Black Hood, Man of Mystery, they do the complete story. The villain is the one that committed a crime, and the one with the green skull face. And unless he is convinced to admit to the crime, the Black Hood will always be considered a criminal. And in the story, he manages to get the confession out of the guy. I'm not going to go into the distance of why or how, but it's interesting. Another one is the character Steel Sterling, Man of Steel. He's basically kind of like a chemist who creates an ability to be more or less invulnerable. Kind of crazy that he's willing to jump into a vat of molten whatever and come out, but if you're that nuts. The Web is another interesting character. Quite a few interesting things about those. Like I said, the first 60 or 80 pages of the book is those origin tales of these characters, some of the more popular ones. And I thought that was very interesting. And then they start talking about when these books were actually started getting published and who was behind them. I've only read about half of the book so far. I'm on page 130, 129, and it's a 288 page book, but just thumbing through the rest of it and seeing the interviews of who they're interviewing. There's interviews with Mark Waid, Brian Augustine, the later of Novik, who actually created the Shield, this character. Everybody thinks this guy's a Captain America knockoff. He came out a year before Captain America. And, this guy right here. And it was created by, the design was created by Irv Novik. And, Irv would later go on to be well known in the 60s and 70s for drawing Batman books for DC. And I didn't know anything about him having anything to do with this until I read this book. So I was like, that was a really, revelation for me. So stuff like that really I found fascinating about this sort of thing. And I really recommend the book. It is from Tomorrow's. In fact, I would recommend going to tomorrows.com and not just getting a copy of this book, but just, take a good look at tomorrows.com and see, what other history books they have on comics history. They do great work on that stuff. I don't have a site for that right now. Maybe next week we'll revisit that real quick and show you some stuff from Tomorrow's other stuff out there, because there's a lot of really good stuff that they do. But that is our reviews for the week. And so we're going to call that pretty much a night, because we're already over 2 hours. And that's fine. It's before we close out, as always, in accordance with the new copy regulations, this episode of QCHR was intended for ages 16 and up. And while some of the content we feature is kid-friendly, like ALBINO ZULU, the context of the episodes is to address adults and inform them of said content so that they can research it as consumers in service of the youth of America, whether you're parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, teacher, librarian, whatever. And there is the possibility of adult language present on the episode as well, rated TV 16 and up. I'm speaking too fast tonight. Sorry about that. I do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. But if you want to reach me, you can reach me on Facebook at lewis.brightraven, deviantart.com/brightraven for the foreseeable future. I know there are some changes with DeviantArt coming up with the new Eclipse thing in the next few weeks, I guess. I don't know how that's going to work yet. I don't know yet. If I change from DeviantArt, I'll let you guys know. Here on YouTube at Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven. Gmail is my preferred way of reaching me for the show at quoththeravennlbr72@gmail.com. And if you can't reach me through Gmail for some reason, you can try me at Yahoo at lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. The Quoth the Raven podcast airs Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, next week, we're going to hopefully have some other stuff going on. I don't know yet. We kind of want to get... I want to get certain people on, and I can't say exactly who until they're approved. But if we can get them on next week, we'll do a whole new thing about more publishers doing different kinds of distribution, because there are certain companies like like Scout Comics and Aftershock Comics that are doing new things that are either going to be going with the new Lunar DCBS or they're doing their own self-distribution through another party altogether. And that's been announced, but I'm going to try and get the Pruitt brothers, one of them each runs each company. I'm going to try and get them on and some other people for next week. That's the plan. If not, then we'll be back with some other material. Okay? So until then, I will see you guys on the flip side. Have a safe weekend, and I bid you adieu.